Hey, Soul Questers. Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of a Soul's Quest podcast. I'm Jessie, your host. This is my co-host, Omar.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
And this is our guest, Judith Morales.
All right.
Yay.
Yay.
We're excited.
Yes.
We should get up and do happy dance and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, then
be animated and all.
Yeah, we should do that, but yeah.
But we're connected.
We're
stuff,
connected.
so
Yeah, we're plugged into the Matrix right now.
Oh, that's a good one.
You like that? I know you do.
Have you seen the Matrix?
No.
Oh
No?
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No. We have to. She's gonna have to watch.
She's gonna have to watch it eventually.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
You might enjoy it actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So how are you?
I am nervous, but I'm fine, and I'm happy to be here.
Good.
Yeah, there's nothing to be nervous about. Nothing at all.
No.
Nothing at all.
We don't bite.
We're all family here.
Omar bites sometimes, but his bark is worse than his bite.
That is true. That is
he
true.
He admitted that yesterday, actually.
Yeah, I did.
I know you like them. You like them a lot. Yeah. So Judith, I guess I'm just going to jump. I was trying to come up with something so I don't just get, Omar always says, you just get right down to business. But you know what? I'm going to get right down to business. So tell us about you. Where were you born?
I was born in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic.
All right.
Beautiful.
What part? Which part of the capital? Which part of DR?
Santo Domingo Este.
Ah, okay. That's like the new area, right? Like a newer type?
I mean, I was born there, so I don't know if it's that new.
Oh, okay. Well, that goes dating how old I am.
You just dated yourself big time. Where were you born?
Yeah.
Yes, I was born and raised in that area. I never got out of there until I came here.
Okay.
So you stayed in Santo Domingo the whole time?
Yes.
In the capital. Okay.
I stayed in the capital. My family is from La Vega and Salcedo and Atomayor. I visited those places, but I never lived there.
Right.
Both my mom and my dad are from Santo Domingo.
Okay. So you're most familiar with Santo Domingo. It's a beautiful country.
Thank you.
My God, I love it. The first time that I ever went was when Omar took me, and Omar made jokes about how I belong in el campo. That's my thing, because it was so amazing. But anyways, go ahead. So tell us about your family, your family structure and school.
Yes. Okay. I have a big family. All four of my grandparents have more than 10 different siblings.
Wow.
So I have a huge family.
Wow.
But I was raised by my mom.
Okay.
My dad, it's always been around, but it was only mainly my mom.
Okay.
When I was 2, she had to work, so she sent me to my grandmother. She was also in the capital.
Right.
And my grandma raised me from when I was 2 all the way until I was 7.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. So your mom wasn't around from 2 to 7, or she was there, but she was working from 6 in the morning until 6 p.m. So she didn't have time to take care of me. Okay, I gotcha. Okay.
But she used to pick me up Saturday at 6 o'clock in the morning and then take me back to my grandma's house Monday at 6 a.m. So she could go to work and I could go to school on Mondays.
Okay, I understand.
So she was around, but just
hard working
to Sunday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
But you had a relationship with your mom then. Okay.
She's my best friend.
And your that's nice. And your grandmother, you must have been pretty close to her too then.
I am still am. She has 3 kids, and she says that I'm the 4th.
Aw, that's sweet. Don't we love our grandmas, right?
Yes. And grandmas make the world a better place.
They do.
And they cook really good too.
Oh,
they do.
Thank you.
Yes,
my grandma was like a restaurant. She was like, "What do you want to eat today?"
Wow. So she'd make you what you wanted?
Yes.
That's nice.
So you were a little spoiled growing up, right? When grandma taking care of you?
Well, I was the daughter of her only daughter.
Ah, okay.
And I was her first grandchild.
Oh.
So, yes, I was spoiled. A little bit.
She admits it.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I mean, that's a lot of love.
Yeah.
That was a lot of, what are some of the memories that you recall, as a young person over there, with your family and feeling love from your grandma? How did that feel?
Well, she was very overprotective with me.
Okay.
I was not allowed to play outside.
Okay.
I was always just wearing a white dress. Yes, that was me. I was always inside playing by myself and just there with my grandma. She used to take me to school and then bring me back home and then just cook for me. And I won't say that I had a lonely childhood, but A little bit.
Okay.
Yes, a little bit.
A little lonely.
So did
you
you
didn't have a lot of friends, or you didn't have any other like cousins or anything that stayed with?
I did have some cousins, and we used to play like during the weekends and things like that.
Okay.
But I remember mostly like just being with my grandma.
Okay.
I also had asthma, so like I say, I was not allowed to play outside. I was not allowed to do sports, so it was kind of lonely.
Okay.
Those first years.
Okay. Interesting.
And how did you deal with that at a young age? Feeling, did you feel anything like, oh my God, I'm always by myself? Did you feel any kind of resentment or any kind of?
Did you feel lonely?
No. Like I said, I have a big family, and even though yes, most of the things that I remember is just being with my grandma. My mom and my dad's side of the family, they make sure that I knew that they were around.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So during the weekends when my mom took me to her house, she used to take me to my aunts from my dad's side of the family to spend time with them and just be around that side of the family as well.
Oh, okay.
She wanted me to know that I had a big family. And even though they were not always around, they were there.
They were there.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, that is nice. So did you, so you had a big family, did you guys have a lot of like opportunities to come together in terms of like, I don't know, like on the weekends and things like that, to get together to like celebrate and do things together?
Yes.
Or?
My birthdays were a big thing.
I'm sure.
Because I was the first grandchild and my mom's only child. Yeah. She makes sure that every birthday, even until now, was celebrated.
Really?
So even now, I say my birthday is the most important day of the year.
They make you feel important too. So yeah, of course.
And we try to spend Christmas Eve with my mom's side of the family, and then New Year's Eve with my dad's side of the family.
Okay.
So those days were very important in our family.
How was me being Dominican as well? Yes. You know, and growing up there. You know, there's a certain mystique about Christmas and New Year's over there because you have a lot of fun. It's different. Can you tell us like how did that play out in your family? Like, what do you guys do for those days? Because that was a big to do, right?
Yes. So from my mom's side of the family, all I remember is all the food. People just used to like be around, communicating and talking with each other. And just playing music and eating a lot of food.
Yeah.
For my dad's side of the family, they're a little more, I won't say crazy, but they dance a lot.
Ah, okay.
I don't dance, but that's all I remember. A lot of my family, they live here, so they used to go to DR for Christmas and New Year's. And I remember that my grandmother, she used to like make boxes here of gifts for all the family and just take them there for New Year's and just give it to everybody. And usually it was like 2 boxes of gifts and 1 box was full of my gifts only. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, okay, here, just take a box and just put all your stuff in there.
Oh my God.
Funny.
You need a box. Don't break the box down. You need the box to put your stuff in it. That's
your
hilarious.
own box. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you were raised by your grandmother. You had a good relationship with your mom and a pretty good relationship with your father, even though they were not together. You spent time with both sides of the family.
Well, my dad was living here, so I used to see him only once a year.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So he didn't live there.
No, he
when
didn't.
You were growing up.
No, he came to this country when he was, I think, 17, like very young age.
Okay.
And they met at a Christmas party.
Right.
And I was born, but my dad, he always lived here.
Oh, so he would just travel there to see you, and you would see him once a year.
Maybe twice a year, yes.
So were you, given that circumstance of not having him around except for that one time a year, how was your relationship with your father then?
It was good. We didn't talk much. So that was a little like painful.
Yeah.
But every time that he was around, he spent a lot of time with me. And like I said, my mom, she tried to include me in my dad's family's side a lot.
Right.
So even though he wasn't there, I could feel his presence.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
No,
okay.
You mentioned that how did it make you feel? Because you kind of like alluded to that a little bit, but how did it make you feel that you didn't talk to him as much because it was far away? You interacted with him just on a limited basis. How did that make you feel as a young person? Like as a young girl growing up and seeing, well, my dad is out there, my mom is working, I'm with my grandma, but I don't have my parents, particularly my dad, and I don't really get to talk to him. How did that affect you? Or if it affected you?
Well, at a young age, like I said, I was living with my grandma until I was 7. I don't remember much of that time.
Okay.
Like at that moment, it didn't affect me that much.
Mm-hmm.
When I started living with my mom, when I turned like almost 8 years old, I felt it more.
Okay.
And I remember those times more.
Mm-hmm.
It's good that my mom, she was always open-minded, and she was like, you can talk to me. I'm here. If you need to talk with someone else, I can pay for that. You can go to a therapist, which I did.
Okay.
And they helped me process those feelings.
And what were those feelings that you were
so
going through?
My dad, he didn't call that much. So he remarried.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember how old I was. I think 6, 7. I don't really remember. But he remarried, and that kind of like pulled him away a little more from me.
Yeah.
And then he actually moved back to Dominican Republic when I was like 8 or 9. But still, even though he was there, he was even farthest away from me because he had this new family, so he didn't spend time with me at all.
Okay.
So I needed to talk to someone. My mom took me to a therapist, and after a long process, I came to the conclusion, I guess, that, or the therapist helped me, that I could not change the way my dad was, just the way that I could see him, or I could feel about him.
Right.
Okay.
And she was like, the way that you're feeling right now, you need to express that to him.
Okay.
Don't keep it inside of yourself. Just tell him. So I did. I was maybe 10.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So I told him, you don't call me, and this is how that makes me feel. Like, you have this family, I understand, but I'm also your daughter.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, this is the way I am. I don't call my parents either. I don't call my daughter. But here's a phone. You can call me anytime you want. So he gave me a cell phone, and he was like, here, I'm always going to be available. You can call me. I don't call people. And I understood. Like, that's just the way he is.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because, first of all, I commend you for confronting an issue and that amount of overwhelming feelings at such a young age, because that's a young 10 years old. I don't know what I was thinking at 10 years old, but then to also be sort of understanding that this is the way that he is, and he's giving you that here's a phone, you call me whenever you want and I'll talk to you, but I just don't call people. And that you had that presence of mind to be like, okay, I understand that. I'm good with that. That's like a big deal.
That didn't take just a year. It took a couple of years, but yes.
Right.
Like,
well, it's a process that you have to go through. And I'm sure was it, and let me not assume, was it difficult to go through the process when you were going to therapy? And
it was painful, yes, to face the way that he is, but you cannot change people. You can just change yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Right. And when you mean what else do you mean? Because again, traditionally there's I have this similar experience with my father, growing up in the same thing, not present but being close by.
Yes.
And it kind of like it plays tricks on you, so I could understand how that felt, because I could relate to that. Is that something that is culturally in our culture? Is that something that is kind of like accepted for the man to be the man and just let the kids do whatever they want? Is that something that you see often?
I wouldn't. Okay.
This is a little because it's like I don't want to call out my people, but
no, but
it happens quite often
because the Caribbean people have a different way of living, and their process of having a family and thing is different. So it's interesting to have, because I know yours, but to hear from a female is I'm curious.
I think that in our culture, mom has the main responsibility with the kids, and that's how males see it. Mom has the main responsibility. So if we divorced or if we separate, mom, you have to be there. Dad, I can be around, but mom, you have to be there.
Yeah.
that's how I think that they see it.
Yeah.
My grandparents, they also were divorced.
Okay.
So I have parents and grandparents divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't there when they got divorced, so I don't know how my parents' childhood was. But maybe if my dad was that way, is because that's what he saw. When he was
now, when you say your grandparents, you mean your grandparents on your father's side?
Both sides.
Oh, both sides.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Both sides.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
From my mom's side, they divorced when she was 3, and from my dad's side, they divorced when he was a teenager.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did it make you feel though that because both sets of grandparents, that because you just said that you that's what your dad saw, so maybe that's what he. You think
guess.
that's the.
I wasn't there, but
right. But that's what you
think.
assume. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
We do what we see.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what he saw. So he thought that was right. I guess. I assume.
Right. Okay.
What other? So your dad gave you a phone. You said you could call me at any time. Just don't expect me to call you.
Yes.
And how did that play out? Did you?
I called him every morning.
Oh, okay.
I was curious about that too.
I called every morning at 7:00 in the morning. I spoke with him. I spoke with my sister and my brother because they were like, my sister was 7 and my brother, he was, I think 4 or 3 at that time. I spoke with them before they went to school. I was the boss, like on my way to school. So I spoke with them every single morning until I was 14 that I came to live here.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's when like the routine broke.
Okay.
Yes.
And when how is the relationship with them back then with your sister and your brother? You mean you talked to them? Were you kind of like a guiding figure? Were you the one that was always initiating that conversation?
Well, they were little, so yes, I was always initiating the conversation. My dad made sure that I was in their lives.
Okay.
After I spoke with him, he was like, okay, I'm going to include you more in our life now. So I spent Christmas with them. Like he brought them because he lived in La Vega.
Okay.
So he brought them to the capital during Christmas so I could spend time with them. He spoke with my mom and I went to his house during the summer for 2 weeks so I could see them more often. So it changed a little bit. So yes, that helped a lot.
Yeah. Segueing into a different part because I want to touch back in your relationship with both your parents, but a little bit later on when you become more adolescents, when you move to the States and when that transition happens. But let's talk about growing up in Dominican Republic, right? And living in that environment. Can you give us an idea on what that looked like? I know we talked about from the family perspective, but let's say friends and school and the things that you did over there. Can you touch on some of that?
Let me think. At school, I was always number 1 in my studies. Having a 95 was not acceptable. It had to be 100.
High achiever. That's okay.
It was good. I think that when I went to live with my mom, I changed schools. So that was in 4th grade, I think. So that's the only thing that I remember. Before that, I don't remember school that much. But I made really good friends that I still my friends until now.
Awesome.
Wow.
That was in 4th grade.
Yeah.
Wow.
What I have noticed now is that in Dominican Republic, been different at school, get you bullied.
Oh, okay.
If you have curly hair and you don't go to the hair salon, you're different. So I'm going to bully you until you go to the hair salon because that's not acceptable.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
At that time. Now it's more common to have curly hair. But before, I had to go to the hair salon every week.
So what did they do to your hair? Like what was?
They used to put gum on my hair.
Gum? Oh.
No.
Yes.
Now, what did the schools do about that?
If they don't see it, there is no proof.
Oh.
So I am very thankful that I had a strong mom that used to go to school to fight for me.
Yeah.
She used to go there and she was like, they did this to my daughter. What are you going to do about it?
Wow.
So
So you were bullied, like literally.
Yeah.
For the way that for your appearance, for all intents and purposes then,
Yes.
basically. Wow.
So wait a minute. I mean, let me backtrack because this is interesting to me because I mean over there there's so a mixture of so many people, the curly hair, kinky hair, straight hair, and this is like one of the first times that I heard like being bullied because of the way that you your hair looked.
Yes.
And how often did this happen?
Often I used to sit in the front. So the students in the back were like, your hair doesn't let me see.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. So being different was not acceptable.
Yeah. So all the girls in that time they went to the salon to get the rollers and everything put in. Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And this is what 8th, 10th years old.
No, it was like, what is it, 4th grade? How old were you
it was from 4 to 6, maybe 7th grade.
4 to 6.
Okay, so it's about the right age. Yeah, you're right.
Around that age. And so then did you conform? Did you actually went and get your hair straightened?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
And what happened after that?
They treat me better.
Okay.
They treated me better. And everything kind of fell into place. I found my group of people. So everything kind of like went the right way.
Well, let me go back to this bullying because that's a very difficult thing to go through.
Yes.
You know, you're one of the smartest kids in the class, so you sit up front, so you want to be attentive. So I'm sure that was something else that they did, you know, picked on that. And then your hair, how did that make you feel? I mean, how did you make you feel? Obviously, you had your mother that advocated for you, but how did it make you feel that throughout that day you had to go to school and deal with these things?
I felt weak. I was weak because I didn't know how to defend myself.
Okay.
So I felt very weak. Throughout the years, my mom helped me and she was like, you need to learn how to defend yourself because I'm not always going to be there.
Okay.
So I kind of grew up having a voice. So I learned to defend myself, but those first years, it was difficult.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, how did it, because I don't know if you wanted to have straight hair or have your hair done.
Well,
were you
it wasn't
okay
normal.
with it? Right. Okay. So did you feel like you were having to sort of do something that you were like, I don't really want to do this, but I got to do it because I'm being bullied? Or like, I guess what I mean is the fact that you had to conform, did that upset you? Or was it just sort of like, no problem. I want to get my hair done.
Well, it was the culture. So it was normal. If you don't do your hair, like you are doing it wrong.
Okay.
So it was just a cultural thing.
Okay.
It was painful to go to the hair salon.
Yeah.
Because I had to spend hours in there with all the heat and all of that.
I know.
Omar knows
You
too.
know.
Yeah, well, my
Omar's
mom was
mother
a
is a
hairdresser,
hairdresser.
so a Dominican hairdresser. So I spent a lot of time watching.
And then
that
if
stuff.
you've been to a Dominican salon, like,
it's
oh my God,
it's a lot of pulling.
A lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of pulling.
They're aggressive, but your hair looks good.
That is true.
Right? I'm appreciative that I have curly hair and I'm trying to be very, like, you know, for the camera, I'm trying to be very natural and you have beautiful hair, but you look good.
Okay, so going back to that, I mean, going back, look at that.
We look good with curly hair too. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, you know, you left the salon and you were just like, oh, this straight hair doesn't be this way, and my head hurts,
my
you're
scalp
sore,
hurts,
everything. It's
but
terrible,
but
I look good. You know?
Yeah.
That's why I don't do that. It's too much.
What is it?
But anyway.
The price of beauty. This is why I'm like streamlined. Look at that. Look at this.
Gorgeous.
That's right.
He was talking about his beautiful body yesterday too, and I was like, stop it. No. Okay.
My cheeseburger.
I did not say
cheeseburger body.
I didn't say you have a cheeseburger body, but that's what people say about.
Actually, my body is more like rice and beans. Than
rice and beans body.
Rice and beans body. I'm gonna hashtag that. Yeah.
His arroz con gandules body.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
anyways, back to the interview. No, I was just curious about that. But you're saying that it was a cultural thing, so it was very normal. It was just that you weren't doing it at that time, and they were picking on you. So you're like, I guess I have to do this.
Yes.
So okay.
It was a cultural thing.
Okay.
Here, when you see that, it was like that's bullying, but over there, it wasn't. Like it was just normal.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But it made you feel isolated, alone, weak. What do you do besides straightening your hair? Because that's just the physical part. You still have the scars of the bullying. How were you able to overcome that, and what did you gain from that experience?
At the beginning, I kind of isolated myself a little bit.
Okay.
I just tried to avoid the people that were bullying me, and I also make some friends that could help me. those friends were my support system.
Excellent.
So I made some friends. I think in 5th grade. I made some friends, and that kind of helped a little bit. And like I said, my mom, she was like, you have to speak up. You have to speak for yourself. I was very shy. Then. I didn't talk that much. I was a little lonely kid.
It's hard to find your voice too when you're at a young age, because you have to defend a lot of the things that you're still developing, because you're evolving and you're learning things about yourself. So you have to defend what you don't even really know.
Yes. Yeah. And if you think about it, I was not only at a new school, I was moving from living with my grandma and just dressing white dresses and staying at home by myself to going to school that everybody is like for themselves.
Yeah.
You have to like defend yourself and speak up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that transition from being isolated and protected to going out there in the world and then being able to see these different people who have developed somewhat of an assertion and an aggressiveness because that's they know people, they know how to interact, and you still kind of you're kind of like catching up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. So then what did you do? But again, besides the hair, what else do you do, or what did you develop to overcome those bullying and become stronger? So you mentioned the hair, you mentioned a support system. Was there something else that you did to make sure that you are more assertive?
Just year by year, I learned to love myself more. Like, this is the way I am. I cannot change it, so I just have to accept it, and I don't care if other people do.
Okay.
I just have to be okay with myself.
Yeah.
Because it's just who I am. So I guess that helped a lot, and I just spoke up a little more.
And I'm sure that was a process to build yourself. It's like a daily thing that you work on.
Do you have an example around that time of a situation in which you stepped up? You said, like, you know what, this is enough, and you had to like confront. Do you have an example of something like that that you could remember?
I cannot think of anything specific. It was a work in progress. It
Okay.
wasn't like a one-time thing. It was just every day, every year through my whole childhood.
Yeah.
It was just a work in progress.
Okay. What about the teachers? Like, what about the teachers? What about the administration? And what about, when your mom went there and she was like, hey, listen, something's got to give. Like, what was their response? Because they have a certain level of responsibility to protect the students, right?
What I noticed from middle schools here is that they care more about the emotional and the behavior of the student, emotional, and not just the academics. For what I noticed in Dominican Republic is more, okay, the school is about academics. Mom and dad, they have to figure out everything else. So as long as you do good in school, like, it's okay, you're fine. We don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah.
So that's what I noticed. Here, they care more about the student as a whole. There's just academics. So the teachers, they were there, but only for the grades and the academics and the schoolwork. Everything else, it was just me and my friends and my mom. Kind of.
And were the schools very strict? How was the environment in school when it came to the academics? Were they strict? Were they very, like, if people would just misbehave, they just didn't care? How was that schooling?
They were very strict. I was going to a Catholic school, so you needed to have your nails at a certain way, no jewelry, this or that. So they care a lot about that aspect. But at the academics, it was you do it. If not, we're going to talk with your parents. It was just something like that.
Okay.
So then you go, because it's just a transition to, you did move to the States when you were 14, you said?
Yes.
And so
when I was in 9th grade.
Okay, I was going to say this. So that's high school, 14 typically. So then what was that like? You went from living in this culture.
Yes.
Then coming to the United States, which is, I know it's a culture shock. So tell us about that and how it went for you in terms of going into high school here and then being, because there's a language barrier too, I'm assuming. Yes. Okay, so tell us about all that.
So we moved here when I was 14.
And where was here?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, okay.
Yes.
Where in Pennsylvania?
Hazleton, Pennsylvania. That's where my
Oh.
grandfather from my mom's side lives.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we moved there because we got our residency. So
Uh-huh.
we had to come. And high school here was tough.
Can imagine.
We live in a town where most of the students were white.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe one teacher spoke Spanish.
Wow.
That was it.
Mhm.
But everyone was white.
Right.
And
Mhm.
they didn't speak Spanish. They didn't understand the language. On my second week in school, I got detention
Mm.
because I didn't do a homework that I didn't understand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask you this, because when I came to the States, there was a little bit of a segue in which I had to take ESL classes, which is English as a second language. You didn't have that.
I did,
Oh,
but
okay.
my English professor, my English teacher, she was, I think, Japanese or Chinese.
Oh.
So she didn't speak Spanish.
And you didn't, well, you weren't able to communicate.
No.
Oh,
She
wow.
used to sit us in a classroom with Rosetta Stone. Here, learn.
Oh.
Mm. And how was that for you? Did you pick up Spanish? I know when you're younger, it's easy because when I came here, all I knew was Spanish because that's my family and whatever.
Yes.
But then I was young, so English came pretty quickly.
It did kind of, but I didn't spend here much time because after a year we moved back to Dominican Republic.
Mm.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yes. At the beginning it was really hard. My mom, she was working at a factory and she got injured,
Mm.
so she had to stay at home, and I was just going to school because that's all I could do.
Mm-hmm.
And after a year, she was like, "Okay, I was injured. I don't have a job here, but I have a job back in Dominican Republic, so we have to go back."
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So my English I didn't learn that much.
Okay.
I will say
In that year?
yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
it was less than a year because I had summer.
Mm.
And then I
Okay.
had Christmas break. And when I came, there was a snowstorm. So we spent like a week or
Yeah.
2 weeks at home.
Mm.
Wow.
So it was way less than a year.
Okay.
Maybe 6-7 months, something
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
So I didn't learn that much. And
Okay.
then we just went back.
And-
So then you started to learn English when you were here. Your mom was injured and you went back and you were still 14, 9th grade.
15, yeah.
Okay. And then, so when you went back to DR, how long did you go back for this time? And did you go to high school?
I finished high school there.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you
Yes.
did everything there. So you were there until you were an adult.
Yes, I finished high school there. As soon as we went back to the Dominican Republic, my mom went back to work. I went back to school. Like
Mhm.
nothing happened in that
nothing.
year. But everything did happen
Yeah.
because I learned a new culture. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, things were difficult, but I like that culture.
Yeah. Like,
I-
what did you like about it? I mean, because it's a completely different,
Mhm.
Pennsylvania and Dominican Republic are two
Yeah.
completely different.
I love this country
Mm-hmm.
because of the opportunities that it has.
Okay.
Okay.
In Dominican Republic, doesn't matter how much you work. It's really difficult to buy a house. It's really difficult to buy a new car.
Mhm.
Like everything is more difficult.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Here, yes, you work very, very hard, but you have the opportunity to have something in your life.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to get a master's degree, to get a PhD.
Yeah.
Like you have those opportunities.
Mhm.
So I love that.
Yeah.
You don't have the crime as much as you have it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have different cultures, so people are more understanding of the way that you are.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Not in
more diversity.
Pennsylvania. Yes, there's more
gotcha.
diversity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not in Pennsylvania, but I also went to New York, so I saw that there.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I fell in love with this country.
Right.
So when I went back, I was like, okay, I understand. We're coming back because of the finance and my mom injured and all of that. But I want to go back there
Yeah.
yeah.
because I love that country.
Yeah. While you were here, were you able to make friends, even with the barrier of language? Were you able to make some friends?
I made some friends, but Hispanic friends.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I still have some friends that I speak with them sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Colombian and Dominican friends.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And they were bilingual?
They were also learning English.
Oh, they were also learning at the same time.
Yes.
So you
we met in ESL class.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Nice.
So you guys had we gotta learn this together.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Awesome.
good. So you had your little community and your
Yes.
friends. So you felt a little bit better about learning this new language. You didn't feel like some people who are learning English, they're really scared to speak the language because they feel like they might sound funny or they have an accent?
Okay. I was very scared.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I didn't want to speak at all.
Yeah.
I was extremely scared. On that year, I think that I didn't speak English.
Really?
I learned more about the grammar, but I didn't speak English because I was very scared.
Yeah. Okay.
And how did the other kids, besides your friends, how did they interact with you? Was there any interaction from like the rest of the schooling?
What I noticed was that the Hispanic kids were right here in these two tables at the cafeteria, and then all the white kids were over there. So they didn't interact with each other.
Really? So and you didn't interact? There was no interactions with them to you?
No, because there was like a wall between white and Hispanic, or white and colored.
Yeah.
You're over here and we're over here.
Okay.
So I don't remember interacting with them.
Wow.
Do you think that was because of the language barrier, or was it just because they're the white or the colored people are different? So this is us. And
is it the understanding there's just cultural differences, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think that it was just not enough of us.
Oh, okay.
So we were just like in a little corner. When I came here to Florida, and first when I went to New York, I saw that there were like more Hispanic people and more people of different cultures. So it was like, we don't have a choice. We either speak with you or we can speak with anybody because they're more Hispanic than anything else.
So it's just everybody's just like dealing with each other.
Exactly.
So they have to interact.
Yes,
there you didn't have to. Okay.
There we didn't have to because we had little tables for the Hispanic kids, and because we had like a little community, we didn't have to speak with anybody.
Okay.
So it was something like that.
And how did that make you feel? Did you look with I want to be over there too? Did you have any of those feelings at all?
At that time, I was really scared.
So you were more nervous than anything else.
Yes. So you were okay with this? We'll stay over here.
Yeah, I was okay in the safe side.
All right. Yeah, in the safe
just
zone.
to feel comfortable.
Yes.
You don't want to look like, oh my God, I don't want to say this. I don't want to say the wrong things, and then I've experienced of being bullied in school because of the way I look. Think about me coming over here being different and then saying stuff. I don't want them to laugh at me. So that's kind of like what was going through.
And I didn't have the language, so like I didn't have a way to communicate with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then you just to keep us moving forward. I'm very interested in your life, so I'm very interested to hear all this stuff. So you went to you were 15 and you finished high school.
I finished ninth grade in Pennsylvania, and then I went back to the Dominican Republic, and then I finished high school there.
Okay, so then what happened?
Can we dive into a little bit that time frame in DR in high school? Did you go back to like the Catholic school?
I went back to the same school, my same friends. Like I said,
like nothing ever happened.
Nothing ever happened.
Now let me ask you this question, and this might be a little bit an intrusive question.
Yes.
But I'm just an intrusive type of person anyways, right? Catholic school and private school, it's expensive over there. Did your father assist your mother paying for it, or was it something that she kind of like did on her own?
My dad, he assisted, but not enough.
Not enough.
My mom, she had to work very hard for me to have the life that I had. And she always said, I only have you because I only can support one child.
Yeah.
I want to give you a good life. So I'm not going to have any more kids because I can only support you. I will say that I'm very grateful and fortunate that I had a good life with my mom. Sometimes, of course, we did have difficulties.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. She used to say, estamos en la vaca flaca. Like
the skinny cow.
Yeah. When we didn't have any money, and it was like, we have bread and cheese in the refrigerator, and that's what we're eating.
Right.
Yeah.
We're just staying home. We're not going to the mall. We're not going anywhere. We're just staying here. And that was okay. Because I knew that, okay, whenever we have money, we're going to do all those things. Right. We just don't have it right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was...